Other city councillor who is one of the contrarians when it comes to the master transit plan. He is Kevin Klein, who is the city councillor for Charleswood, Tuxedo, Westwood. Councillor, welcome.
Thank you very much, Geoff. Good morning.
All right, so how come you voted against this plan? What did you not like about it?
You know, there's some key problems within this plan, and I think I can give you the top three. Number one, there's a lot of financial irregularities, and it's not a plan as it's being touted. It really is a chance to try and get $200 million from the feds, but it will put us on the hook for over $1 billion in debt. And if we do that, the second thing is that it causes a risk. And the risk is that could jeopardize completing the work at the North End treatment plant, because we will officially be about $150 million or less from our debt ceiling. And we can't afford that, because what happens is that we have to service the debt, just service the debt, not pay it down, service all of our debt, which becomes about $100 million plus per year. That comes off services. So that's our operating money. That's a risk. And the big one for me was, safety. They wanted to spend 20 or some odd $1 million on more bus shelters, and we can't manage the ones we have now. Last week on TikTok, there was a video that was going viral of passengers being threatened to be stabbed on a Winnipeg bus. People are having to, having their shopping bags stolen on Winnipeg buses. People are not wearing their mask. People at bus stops are being harassed for change. And I get calls all the time about safety. I know we don't want to talk about it, but it's happening. It's a reality. We need to deal with public safety. That will get people on transit.
It's a common complaint, Councillor, and you're aware of it. You hear the complaints. I get them here. There are some people who just don't feel safe riding transit. Never mind, if we take COVID out of the conversation, we're talking pre-COVID, that they just don't feel safe riding transit.
They really don't, and it is getting worse. It is being not addressed. We're certainly, we have lots of political spin talk going on, but we're not doing anything about it. And I mentioned that yesterday during council. I thought, we move all kinds of motions that are meaningless. They're really good politically, like they'll look good on your, in your scrapbook and stuff, but they're not doing anything to address real problems. And that's my fear, is that when people won't take the bus to go to a Jets game, which you would think would be the perfect time because of parking and all the traffic, because they're afraid to wait downtown to take the bus, and you're going to spend billions of dollars, which they don't have, which if you really look at the plan, ladies and gentlemen, it's for a transit bus shelter right now, radios, infrastructure, and consultants. Why would we jeopardize other projects and put us that close to the debt ceiling for that? I mean, this is the same council, EPC, that didn't want the UPass program, that cut the transit routes, existing routes, in their budget just a couple of years ago.
Well, here's an email from one of our regular listeners. Councillor says, I use the buses regularly. If the city wants to increase transit ridership, they should do more to inform the public that paying the fare is optional. Every day I use the bus, I regularly see people allowed to get on the bus and get to their destination without paying. That's another issue altogether, isn't it?
Yeah, and I hear that multiple times. I got that from my son when he was going to U of W. Talked about that an awful lot, and that was even a few years ago. Look, we're looking for the fluffy headlines, and we want to be able to say, oh, we're so transit this, we're so transit that friendly. It's a political thing. The reality is, we have a failing infrastructure. So we put all this money into a system that, you're right, it's just not safe. It's not funding itself right now. We didn't even talk to New Flyer. You have a 25-year plan, and I think I heard you on your show saying, well, at least they're looking ahead. How can you have a 25-year transit plan that isn't fully electrified within that 25-year period? In the plan, in their own plan, they are only buying 13 more buses than they have today. But we're growing to 1 million? So even we think no one's going to be riding the bus. We're not adding anymore.
Yeah, all right. So what do we do then to create a good functional public transit system in our city? Because I think most of us would agree that that's kind of an essential in any growing city. We need good public transit. So what do we do?
I think it's a great question. I think number one, you're right. You need an effective and efficient transit system to be a successful city. You have to have that. And I think number one is you have to make it safe. Public safety has to be our very first concern. Let's make passengers safe. Let's make the drivers safe for everybody. So that we have to address that. Second is the bus service should actually run on a schedule that fits those that need the bus. Right now, if you look at the bus schedule, and I've had lots of resident meetings about this, our buses seem to run Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. I have my sister-in-law who uses the bus all the time, struggles because she wants to leave the U of M at 9 p.m., but she can't because, she has to wait a half an hour because the buses don't run regularly after that. So we have to become efficient and meet the needs of the customers. Right now, we're asking the customers to meet our needs. We're telling them to do it our way. And we can talk about this spoke system and how well it's going to work. But again, we have to be on a schedule that meets what residents want. If they need to get to the industrial parks, we need to service those industrial parks during the times they need them. People work shift work. If we're really going to make an effective and efficient transit system, let's help those that use transit. Let's meet their needs. Let's not make it ours or a political ambition. Let's meet the needs of the customer. Simple. It's simple business.
Councillor, always good to talk to you. Thanks very much for this.
I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Councillor Kevin Klein, one of the folks who voted against this transit plan yesterday. He's the councillor for Charleswood, Tuxedo, Westwood. We also heard from St. Boniface councillor Matt Allard, who's one of the proponents of this plan.